Hey everybody, what's up? It's the dude with the crazy hair. Like, if you I tried to fix it, it didn't work. Today we're going to talk about Joe Rogan's brand new stand-up comedy special. And I know what you're thinking. Joe Rogan does stand-up? If you don't know Joe Rogan, he has the biggest podcast online. I think he still does. And he used to do Fear Factor back in the day. But he also does stand-up comedy. And he's been doing it since 1988. I did not know. I had no idea. I just couldn't. It doesn't. The two don't go together. Sorry. Yeah, it was on. It's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. It's called Burn the Boats. Get it? Ha. The IMDb ranking is really bad. I mean, when I watched it, it was like 5 stars out of 10 by way too many people. So he opens with a joke about Texas and Texas weed, and you know, once you start smoking it, you get into this headspace, and you're like, we gotta give this land back, man. Like, we gotta give this land back. I mean, like, yeah, I get it, because Texas was stolen. I mean, the entire country was stolen. I mean, Texas has been back and forth. Texas is Texas. If you live in Texas, good luck. Good luck, I think. And then he goes on to talk about aliens, because he is a big believer in like conspiracy stuff. I can't show you clips, so I have to say the jokes myself, which will actually sound better because I'm funnier, so it'll work out in our favor. And he just says, like, I'm very invested in aliens being real. If they're not, I'll feel stupid. And it's just boring alien joke to me. And then he makes an analogy about like taking a fish out of water and taking photos of them and dropping them back in the water, and the fish are like, what the hell just happened? And I didn't really understand this. And actually I have a podcast called Outspoken where me and my girlfriend, we review the entire thing. It's a longer format, but I wanted to react to it myself to show you guys, just in case you didn't see the podcast. We're almost at 100k. We need 5,000 more subscribers, by the way, so if you do want to check that out, the episode will be linked down there somewhere. Shanna's a lot more educated than me. It's a good dynamic. It's good. When I don't get something, it's explained to me, because I'm stupid. And then he just keeps on going about aliens. So the fish analogy, and he said, why would an alien want to go to the Pentagon? I'd pick some meth maker in Arkansas, tell him everything, time isn't real, etc., whatever, blah, 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 then leave him in the middle of the woods, right? And no one's gonna believe him, because they do math. It's just, I'm not into the whole thing. Poorly, it just sucked. And he used this because people say, like, if aliens are real, why don't they just land on the White House lawn? But it's like they don't want to make themselves known that their existence is known. It was just a boring joke. It sucked. Then he goes on to talk about Fear Factor, and it actually got canceled because they made somebody drink donkey cum. And he explains when he was doing the show, he would get there, get a script, work on it, and one day it was the donkey cum episode, and after this, Fear Factor got canceled. And he told them, he was like, you know, I don't think we should make people drink cum on TV, and when I'm the voice of reason, it's fucked up. That was a good one. When Joe Rogan is the voice of reason, what you're doing is probably fucked up. And you know, I was riding the wave. I was like, okay, that was a pretty good joke. You know, let's see what else he has in store. In this next joke, I always do the Donald Trump hands. In this next joke, Joe Rogan, the best podcaster of all time, he said, we lost a lot of people during COVID, and most of them are still alive. I'm a little bit of a snowflake, just a little bit. I don't find COVID jokes funny at all. So it was tasteless. That was just... He's talking about the wokies. The wokies. You might be a wokie if you watch me. That would make sense, right? Because I'm Snowflake, you're Snowflake. And I was just like, ugh. What a boring... You suck. Why don't you suck the donkey's dick? You were so interested if you watched the special. Well, he was a little too excited about the donkey thing. So then he yaps and yaps and yaps about a bunch more boring shit. And he gets to this joke. It's a TSA joke. You know, when you go to the airport, you gotta put your stuff, take your shoes off, take your laptops out, and they scream at you like you're an idiot. Because I know what I'm doing. I'm always on an airplane, but it's like, stop screaming at me, please. It's 6 a.m., it's too early, you have to shut up. And this prompts him to talk about TSA PreCheck. Now, if you don't know what that is, it's just something that you can buy. He says it's a lot better because you pay the government to get a TSA PreCheck, and you get to keep your shoes on and your laptop in your bag. Like, yay, I don't have to go through that because I pay the government to get a clearance. Like I said, I have TSA PreCheck. The security line is so much shorter. You don't have to take your shoes off and put your socks or your feet on that nasty nasty floor where everybody else's nasty feet have been on the floor. You don't have to go through the giant thing. It's just so much better, right? And then he says you get to pass those barefoot losers with their shitty paperwork. My laptop's in my bag, motherfucker. And then it was funny because I feel, and you know, I felt that. I felt that. I felt heard. And that one made me laugh too, so that was a surprise. I was like, wow. And I want to just say this really quick. You know, comedy, whatever, it can be nuanced. There's a fine line between being an asshole and being a comedian. People get offended. Basically, comedians say if you get offended too easily, don't watch comedy. Just don't watch it. And which I agree with to an extent. He actually touches on that a little bit later, but I still think you're allowed to see a comedy show if you're a little snowflake baby. If you make a bad joke, you make a bad joke. And then here we go. Couldn't miss it. He explains, sometimes you get randomly selected for a TSA pre-check thing for extra screening. I've been there. It's happened to me too. And he got chosen, and one of the employees asked for a male assist to pat him down. And Joe apparently said back to the person, "Male assist? Did you just assume my gender?" So good. That's just such a funny Honestly, I don't think he actually said that. Maybe he did. At one point, the comedians always have to throw the transes in there all the time. Can you just shut up? Can we shut up about trans people at this point? We get it. We get it. Oh my god, they're trans. Whoa, that's crazy. That's insane. Do you know how many more insane things are happening in the world? Tesla trucks. That's okay. That's more insane. Not that being transgender is insane. I'm not sticking up for him in any type of way, but it was a light joke compared to the comedians that I've reviewed before. They'll be in the link below too. On to the next topic. Apparently he opened a comedy club in Austin, Texas, and Fox News had something to say about it. And I was intrigued because I thought that he might like Fox News. I don't know what their beef is, but he said Fox News had the dumbest reaction. And I was like, Joe Rogan based? Joe Rogan about to make a banger? Fox News said, Joe Rogan created an anti-woke comedy club. And then Joe says, I'm like, oh, you mean a comedy club, just like a normal comedy club. And I thought that was a funny joke because I don't like Fox News. And yeah, a regular comedy club. You can be offensive during comedy, but to an extent. Moving on to the next joke, he says, everybody wants to be on a team, right? Like, what does your team believe? And then he begins talking, basically quoting leftist viewpoints. We believe that healthcare is a basic human right. And he says, I agree. We think that education should be free. Me too. And men can get pregnant. Haha, trans joke. You know you can be on any side you want and not believe in all the things. And he goes, is that a package deal? How did that one slip through? Like, and now there's a pregnant man emoji. That wasn't all of a sudden, it's an emoji on your phone. A pregnant man. And just, who cares? Why are you upset about an emoji? And again, not a big fan of Joe Rogan, not sticking up for him or anything like that. It's just, people have mixed opinions about him. I generally don't like him. He did make a trans man joke. Usually it's always about trans women. He hasn't said anything about trans women thus far. It was a trans man joke, and I have been begging, I have been pleading for a trans man joke. Come up with something different than a woman in a dress peeing, or sorry, a man in a dress peeing in the stall next to your child. What's gonna happen? Someone finally did it. Thank you, Joe Rogan, but also fuck you. And he follows it up and says, you know, listen, if you're a hetero man, I know there's a few of us left, which is, that doesn't even make any sense. No, that's not true. If you're texting your buddies and they ask if you want to go out Saturday and you're like, you know, I can't, I'm trying to get my wife pregnant, man. And you look down on your phone and you're like, is that Bert Kreischer? Or whatever his name is. He's a comedian who's known for taking his shirt off and he has a big belly or something. And then Joe says, you know, I think we need extra words. Maybe we should use extra words like for when we say off-road vehicle, basically, instead of just calling me a man. I'm a trans man. You can say both. I don't give a fuck. I mean, he's still on a rant about trans people. I don't really, I mean, joke okay, joke not that good. I don't know. And then he says, I'm willing to say men get pregnant. I'm willing to say pregnant man. The last thing I want mad at me is a pregnant man. I laughed. I laughed. Put a guilty sticker on my face, please. Which is based. I was like, Okay. Okay, but I thought you didn't like trans people. Maybe he's more progressive now. Who knows? He says, "I believe in I believe in trans people." As if we are something to believe in. I love when people say that. You know, I believe in trans people. I bet, like I'm a little tooth fairy thing. But he says the world is strange and nature's strange. And I think nature can throw you a curveball. And I fully support your right as an adult to do whatever you want. I believe in freedom and love. But I also believe in crazy people. I do too. You know, trans people can be bad. We already know this. Everyone can be bad. And he says, suddenly, every man in a dress is stunning and brave. Trans women are women. How about most? You gotta leave room for crazy. And I'm sorry if it's taken me a while to adjust, but all my life, if there was a movie about a killer, he was crazier if he wore a dress. Psycho, Silence of the Lambs, Little Red Riding Hood. Shannon explains this entire thing about film and how that was actually a real thing in our podcast called Outspoken, if you want to listen to it, because I didn't understand because man's stupid. And actually, you know what? Here's a little clip.
For a long time in media, sexualization of certain things was considered illegal to be aired on TV or being like in Disney movies or any movies. However, that did not include heterosexual sex, romance, or love. It only included gay or trans or like anything LGBT was considered illegal to add and air on TV or be in movies. It was just not allowed. However, that's where the word queer coded came from. Obviously, a lot of these Disney movies started coming out in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and that was a law for a long time. And
the law?
It couldn't go anywhere. You weren't allowed to like do anything with it if it was gay. Like, you couldn't publish it, and, like, it couldn't be a Disney movie.
So you couldn't put gay stuff in movies? It was illegal?
Yeah, it was considered over-sexualized, or over-sexualization.
Yeah, so that's that. And then he goes on and mentions a trans woman who really didn't look like a trans person to me. You know, full beard and chest hair at a Roe v. Wade protest saying, "Stay out of my P word," and everybody was cheering for her. And I was like, you know, why are we still on trans people? We get it, okay, we get it, man in dress joke. We made it, finally. And then he follows that up by saying, that's probably not even a real trans person. That's probably a Republican. That's probably an Asian provocateur sent in to discredit your organization with ridiculous behavior. I'm gonna be honest, I was blown away. Again, I was like, Joe Rogan based? If you don't know, this is a thing that extreme right-wingers do. They will make up a skit, make something up crazy of like a trans person doing something or going into a locker room and record it, and then it'll be posted on Fox News or Twitter or something like that. And then you have people pick it up, like big YouTubers, Ben Shapiro, Blair White, and all those people, and they'll be like, see, this is why trans people suck, or whatever the fuck they say. I'm happy that he said that. It's going to make more people educated about how there are so many fake videos out there just painting trans people to look bad because it's literally a Republican skit. And then he goes back to being bad, bruh. He makes a China joke and how they create so many things, and he's doing like an accent and all that shit. And he's like, you know, they create so many things, even COVID. And then we're back on that suddenly. And he says, the funniest way for me to die is if I die from COVID. And he just goes on about that joke saying, I talk so much shit about it. If I died from COVID, the memes would never end. And then he talks about using ivermectin, because he used that to help cure or make himself feel better from having COVID, and he spread a bunch of misinformation about it. And he did follow it up by saying, if you get your vax advice from me, is that really my fault? And I forget what he said, but he dogged on himself a little bit here, because he's like, he's making fun of his audience. He's calling himself stupid. If you're getting your vax advice from me, is it his fault? Then he makes some long joke about how there was an article that made him look bad by taking just a single sentence that he said and misconstruing it, and everybody was mad at him for it. And he said, you know, they tried to use that one quote that I'm homophobic, and I'm like, oh my god, there is so much more that is better proof. that that you could use. But not homophobic, by the way. He's not homophobic. Don't worry, Joe Rogan is not homophobic. And apparently he likes trans people. You know, and Joe Rogan really misses using the F slur because rarely did it ever have anything to do with gay men. They would mean it in a different way. But and he said, you know, gay men, they took it. They took the word back. They took it just like they took the rainbow, all right? Because they're men and they're greedy. You say that word, you're a homophobic piece of shit. I mean, I don't think that's necessarily true. People will, I mean, if you do say it, people will be like, yeah, don't say that word. Like, don't do that. It's not that hard to say a word that people don't want you to say. Then he says, nobody hates gay women, and you can say DYKE. Which is also another statement that is not true. You can't say that. A lot of people hate gay women. They don't, not necessarily hate, but they don't believe in gay women, I would say. Actually, he says this. He says, men don't even think they're real. Women believe in gay men. If they see two guys kiss, they're gay. They're two gay guys. Now, men who see two women kiss the women think they're gay. And every man, after 3 drinks, thinks he can fix a lesbian. You know, I got the tools, I can fix her. But see, and what is that called? Kids. And, well, you're mostly adults. Adults, what's that called? Misogyny, the patriarchy, all of that stuff. When a girl's bisexual or whatever, is it really true? Like, does she really like girls? A lot of dudes think that way. Oh my god, we're almost done here, okay? And then he says, men don't care if girls do gay stuff. Exactly, they don't, because it's fetishized. I want to see it. But now if 2 men do it, ew, that's great. You should go to hell and have no rights. But later tonight, I'm gonna go on PH and I'm gonna go watch a little bit of lesbian porn. He was talking about men versus women, and then he says, if you came home to your wife and she said, oh, Jenny ate my P word, men wouldn't have that big of a reaction. You know, it would be kind of a big deal, but not really. He said something along the lines of like, don't do it too often, but also it's kind of hot. But just don't do it too often. It doesn't count as cheating. Then he says vice versa, basically. If, let's just say I came home, right? And I told my girlfriend, hey, Mike just sucked my dick. It would be, so you're gay? Oh, you're gay? Okay, blah, blah, blah. You cheated on me and blah, blah, blah. And that's what he said in his joke. Which actually I think is a true thing. Because it's not okay to be gay. It's not okay to suck a dick. Because if you do, you're gay. But if you go down on a girl, you know, she's still straight. It's just a patriarchy thing. That's how I took it. That's not how Mike took it, though. Mike took it a lot. And he ends his amazing special by talking about how he's friends with Elon Musk, calling him the smartest person in the world. I feel like when I get into a Tesla, and one of you probably owns one, I could rip the handle off so easily. Everything that Elon Musk is or makes or does, I hate. I have a strong hatred, burning desire in my heart for that man. He ruined Twitter. It's horrible. So Joe felt stupid, and he says he kind of zoned out, basically, because he doesn't know what Elon's even talking about, because he's talking about like rocket ships or something, and I forget what he was referencing here, but again, I talk about more. I actually know what was going on in the podcast, Outspoken, if you want to go subscribe to it. Something, he says, if we all go to darkness, I'm going to heaven. I sleep like a baby. You're on antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds. You're a fucking idiot for not believing in dumb shit. You sleep better. I think he was talking about like religion or Christianity or something like that. He's right. I mean, if you're an idiot, you sleep better. If you're smart, you can't sleep. There is no sleep for you. I mean, maybe there is, but basically like believing in dumb shit. I think he referenced like Christianity or something. He's just saying you sleep better because you're not thinking about things all the time, which is also ironic though, because he is like a conspiracy theorist. He's into all that type of stuff. But if you are intellectual and smart, which I consider myself, I know that in my videos I may not appear that way, but I do have a very high IQ. I've taken many online IQ tests. Okay, I'm very intelligent. It's very high. Jokes aside, I am pretty smart, but I have specific beliefs. And I do always say this all the time. I wish that I was gullible and believe in certain things so I could just say it's not in my hands, it's in someone else's hands, and I don't have to to deal with it. I don't. But I don't view the world that way. I just view the world as, fuck it. Okay, I'm an atheist. I don't know if I've said that on my channel yet. Have I? I don't think that I have a higher purpose or a higher being. I just don't. It's not what I believe in. Just reiterating his point. If you believe that your job or your life or whatever is in somebody else's hands, that takes it off of you. But if you're smart enough to, and I'm not calling you stupid if you believe in religion. Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry. You will just sleep better because it's not your problem. It's whoever's problem. Not yours. It'll get solved. Not by you. Yeah, I wish that I just sometimes believed in that, but big brain. Got a big old brain. And then he ends the segment by talking about his grandparents, how they're at the nursing home, and it's like STD land there because all they do is like have sex. And that's sort of how he ends it. Can you guys tell me what you think, please? Because he confuses me. Okay, alright. Bye.